Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Four Lads Sunday Night Show. We promised, well, you asked, so we promised we would go live and have a kind of chat about the game today and just catch up on Rangers bits and bobs. I'm not long in the door. I left the house this morning at 7 a.m. and returned right bang on 6 o'clock there. So, an extremely long day. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express. Jim drove all the way back there and back. Mando with us as well. So it was a good trip. It was a lot of fun. But at half time, I wasn't really thinking that. Kenny, yeah, what can we say? I'm not sure it was a great performance, but we'll try and dissect it as much as we can. How did you find the game anyway?
Strange game. You put out a team like that, and you're being honest, very few of them took any kind of chance, did they? And none of them took their opportunity. But I thoroughly enjoyed the equaliser. Spoiled their little party. They seemed to think they were winning the Champions League or something today, mate. It was quite odd, wasn't it? They really did have a proper go at Conor Barron for 90 minutes. They were, strange bunch up there, aren't they? But yeah, to be fair, mate, as I say, a better second half, a shocker in the first half, but you know, at least they showed a little bit of character and spirit and fight and dig towards the end there. So fair play to them.
Yeah, listen, what I'm going to say about it is I asked for this selection. I was delighted with Barry's selection. And I know it didn't work, but I was absolutely delighted with his selection because, in my opinion, it's only my opinion. I don't want to lose any game or I don't want to drop points in any game, but this was a meaningless game sandwiched in between two massive European games. Now, it was interesting because the boy commented on the pod the other day that why do you not think that Hibs was maybe the same before the European game? And he's got a point. Do you know what? He's got a point. So I can understand that. I thought it was an interesting point. Team selection today, obviously a lot of changes. Kelly stayed in nets, back three, Inciala, Proper, Fernandez, McCausland at right back, Curtis at left back, and then it was Bayrami and Barron who captained the side with Cortez, Danilo and Eagleman up front. Fair to say, Kenny, it didn't work. And listen, I think Bayrami worked hard in midfield, but it was clear we were getting overrun in there. And then obviously, I thought, look, I think the biggest... What's the best way to talk about this to start? I think probably looking at Ross McCausland's performance, which I thought was extremely poor. Gets caught twice, really rash challenges. And yeah, I think that put us in trouble, obviously, because it was all coming down the right-hand side, even before he got cautioned, and then to be sent off was just a massive uphill struggle. I thought Ross McCausland let himself down today. I thought he was extremely poor.
I don't want to stick the boot into a kid, but that was one of the worst Rangers performances I can remember in a long, long time. So much so that I had actually put it in the Four Lads group chat after about 16 minutes or something like that. He's given me the fear. I thought you could just see it coming. Really poor defensively, really bad first touch, crazy second yellow card. The first one, I think, is it's a challenge he's got to make, and he doesn't get it. So fair enough. But the second one's just ridiculous. You've got to look at that as a football player and know that you can't get that ball. We can't win the ball, Stevie. There's no way of him, getting to the ball without going through the player. So a crazy decision. But there was a few. Listen, I'm not going to sit there and be overly critical of one individual, because there was 4 or 5 of them in there today that I thought were really, really poor. Really poor. But McCausland, if I'm being honest, mate, I think that might well be the kind of end of him. He just doesn't seem to have it, and that's no disrespect to the kid, but he's been in that first team squad for 2 years now, Stevie, and he's just not progressing at all. So, you know, you've got a decision to make with him. I don't know how you feel about that, but that would be my kind of take on it. You have got a decision to make on him.
I think that's difficult. I think that, like you, right, here's the thing. So I'm at the game, folks, and as you all know, Stevie's a little over 5'5". So honestly, see today, Kenny, it was like a 6-foot wall of folk in front of me. And
I've seen the vlog, mate. I've seen it.
Right, honestly, try to get past and all that. So it was quite funny. So a lot of stuff I missed, especially down that side. It's a really difficult stadium, Pittodrie, to see, especially when you're only a little munchkin like me. And I kind of missed the side. So what concerned me in the first half, right, and it caught us really earlier on, that Bayrami and Barron seemed to push, and then they were played round, and Aberdeen were running onto us. And because McCausland was forward, there was a few times on that left-hand side for Aberdeen, right-hand side for us, we were getting exposed. So that was a concern to me. But that was obvious because Bayrami and Barron aren't your central midfielders. We asked for changes. I certainly asked for changes. So I'm not critical on that way. But it just seemed to me that midfield was where the biggest issue. And that's before we talk about the forward line, which we'll come to.
Yeah, I would agree, up to a point. As I say, I don't think either flank were particularly good in the first half. I thought young Curtis did okay. I thought he was decent enough. But I thought Cortez was just a non-event. I thought McCausland was really struggling there as well on the other side. But I thought Bayrami and Barron did okay, actually, without being good, if you like. But I don't know how you felt. You were up at the game, so you'll have seen this slightly better than me. But I just feel that three at the back a lot of the time just leaves us with a little bit of a lack of movement in the middle of the park. It just doesn't seem to work very well. And we kind of seen the difference in the shape in the second half when he went to a flat back four, and we were much more capable of retaining the ball, I thought. But I'm not going to blame any individuals for that. I just felt that I do feel that the system in certain games will work, and in certain incidents like today, I just don't think it worked at all in that first half. And in truth, Stevie, I don't know if you can remember, but they missed a couple of sitters as well. We could have been 3-4, down and out of sight, and the game's gone. But as I say, the midfield it's difficult to complain about the two because Bayrami's never really played in there for us. We don't know. Barron, I thought Barron did all right. As I say, I didn't think he was bad.
It wasn't a criticism of being bad. What I'm saying is Aberdeen outnumbered us in there.
Yeah, they did.
It became difficult. And the other problem that I thought the front three, big man aside, let's talk about Danilo and Cortez. Definitely right to take them both off. I thought Cortez was really bad. Really, really bad. He worries me all over the place. The touch, position, gets into good wee moments and then doesn't know nothing about him at all. This is a guy that we spent best part of 4 million on. Really worrying. And Danny again, £6 million. Didn't have the touch, didn't have the link up, caught on the ball, started coming very deep. And I just thought that, he tries, but I just thought today definitely wasn't Danilo's day. And that was difficult. The two subs at halftime we'll talk about were good subs and difference they made. But as you pointed out, Kenny, there was a couple of opportunities, again, all coming down our left-hand side. Ball gets fizzed across. I think it was our number 5, put one, kind of clipped it over the bar. He kind of hit it off his shin and went over the bar. And then there was a winger cut in, and he put one wide, and at 0-0, you're thinking at that point, right, we've got an issue. And then McCausland's first booking comes, I think. And they score directly from that. Now, it's a difficult one because it's right in the corner. Kelly gets a hand to it. I've not seen it again, right? A lot of people seem to think he was slow for it. I'm not sure, Kenny. I've got one view of this goal and I've not seen it again.
Kelly should do better, mate. Yeah, He should. I think he gives him a little bit of that side, because he's that far out to a certain degree. I think he's expecting a cross to come in, so he's got to be a little bit more central on his line. But it's at a height where he should save it. He can get across. He takes a jump instantly, and it just kind of leaves him slightly flat-footed, and he's slow to get across. It's an issue because for me, it's a very, very similar free kick to the one James Madison scored up there, if you remember. It's almost identical, and I thought Wes Fodering should have done better with that as well. But this is actually not as high, and he's got a little bit more time to get across. Kelly should do better with that, mate.
Does Paul have a point here? Because I thought at the time, at the game, I thought maybe we were shaping to cross. He doesn't cross. He puts it straight in. But by the by, 1-0. Then Ross McCausland's moment. We've discussed that. We go down to 10 men, and then it's very quickly 2-0. I thought young Finlay Curtis done really well at left back, considering. But he's playing against a guy, Shaden Morris, who's a very decent but extremely quick winger. He gets down, cuts it back, and then it's 2-0. And you're right, Kenny. I got to be honest, 2-0 at half time. I'm thinking, right, this could really go against us. And we probably could have been 3-4-0 down at half time and not complain.
Well, Paul's right. He's the Clarkson's the free kick is that far out that you do expect a cross, but at the same time, he set the wall up for a strike, so he's fully aware that he might strike it. On the second goal, it's a nice bit of skill and a bit of pace, and he gets in behind young Finlay Curtis. But the issue there is Robin Proper, yet again. He's got to come across. He sees Enciala's in kind of no man's land. Now, you could blame Enciala a little bit, but Proper is the one that's sees it, and he's got to come across, and Tavernier's got to come over with him, and you'll get a block in. But it's just a defence all at sea, mate. We've watched it all season that they can see things unfolding, but they're incapable of dealing with it, and it was coming. You can't tell lies, it was coming. We were under a little bit of siege at that point where they were coming at us at will, and it's a tidy finish, and he wrong foots the keeper. But at the same time, mate, it's one of those that you just want a commanding centre half and your experienced centre half to take control of the situation and go to the ball, and he doesn't. He just stands and points and hands him over to somebody else, and passing the buck a little bit, and I can't be bothered with it. And we've said plenty on Robin Proper, and he's another one that, for me, a little bit like young McCausland. You've got a decision to make in him in the summer, mate, and I know what I'd be doing with him.
Alex makes an interesting point again, right? I can't see this, so this pans and it literally disappears behind 3 big 6-foot guys in front of me, and then it appears in the box, and there's a scramble, and he puts it in. So I've got no idea on this. And in terms of it being out, Kenny, any thoughts on the goal that was disallowed for us? Well,
it looks out, but you don't get a great angle of it. It does look out. You've got to say it does look out, but how the linesman and the far side can see that from literally 40 yards away and bodies between it and stuff like that, I'm not quite sure. But unless you see an overhead view of that, basically, you're not going to know if it's out or not. But I'll tell you what, it's tight enough that there is a little bit of debate, but there is an angle that you've seen it from where it does look clearly out. But you can't, yourself, mate, with the curve of the ball, you can't tell unless you're looking right above it. And at the time when in real time, if you like, I wasn't sure it was out at all. But we'll wait and see what they do with that. But with the controversy with the side across the city a few weeks ago, they're not going to get involved in this, so we kind of know what they're all about, the referees, don't we?
So 2-0 at half time. Barry makes 2 subs. Jeffy comes on. Cortez go to back 4. Finlay Curtis moves to the right hand side. Bayrami goes wide left. And then Danilo also goes off, and Diamandi comes on. I thought Diamandi played really well. He's a bit loose at times on the ball, Diamandi, right? And sometimes I think he overly does it. Excuse me. But I also thought that he played with a kind of spirit and things that we needed and lacked from the midfield. So we needed a wee bit of determination, which we got. And then, quite quickly, Rangers got a goal at a really good moment. I think 48, 49 minutes. It's a long ball, which we did go a wee bit more direct. We were looking for that Eagleman power. Finlay Curtis wins a fabulous flick on. At the point where it seems like it's going to get stuck under his feet, he drags it out and he finishes, Kenny. It's a brilliant finish because he's just scalped it in. I think it clipped the post on the way in again. I haven't seen it. But the good news, right, Kenny, so this is great. See the 6-footers, they're on my left, so I can now see the whole Rangers half all right. So I'm winning there. I saw all of that perfectly and it was a lovely finish.
It was a cracking finish. I'm not sure I hit the post, mate, but it was just buried in the bottom corner. But the great thing about that goal is the fact he's got 3 defenders round about him, and he basically manhandles one, makes the other, and holds the other one off, and just wrong foots the keeper and lashes it into the bottom corner from about, I don't know, it's about 18, 20 yards. But we've seen Hamza Egeman do this plenty all season. It's what he's very, very good at. And I thought he did a decent game today. And I agree with you on Mo Diamandi. I thought Mo Diamandi came in and gave us that presence in the middle of the park that we hadn't had in the first half. And as you say, he's a little bit haphazard or whatever you want to call it on the ball. Sometimes he'll give it away. He's trying to be too quick. But I don't know if you would have seen this, but it was a point, maybe about an hour in, where he's screaming for Kelly to give him the ball. And he's maybe 30 yards for goal and 35 yards, and Kelly's in the edge of the box, and Kelly goes long, and he's getting so frustrated because he wants to play football. But you're absolutely right with what you said about us going a lot more direct. And I think we had just decided go and try and win second balls, whereas that's not Mo Diamandi's game. I agree with James there. I actually do want to see Hamza Egeman as our number 9, really do. He's very good. He's just a very good player. Set of ladders. No, but that's my kind of take on the second half, or the start of the second half, mate, is that Diamandi come on and instantly improved. I know Danilo is your mate, but I thought he was horrendous in the first half, mate. I've got to be honest. I thought he was really poor. Just didn't do much at all. Looked, and I'm not saying he is, but he looked unfit. He just didn't look fit for the game today. So Mo Diamandi made a big difference.
Danny's not unfit. There's not a pick on him at all, but he's not match fit. And that's what happens when you get 10 minutes in 6-7 weeks. Yeah, so in my opinion, I thought Rangers were the better side until 60 minutes. And then Aberdeen came on to us again. And I think they missed not any sitters. I think they missed kind of numerous chances from the edge of the box and things, but nothing really close. Nothing that really concerned me up the other end. Bear in mind, I could barely see it anyway. And then they had that third goal, which was quite funny because they celebrated it like it was a World Cup final. And it looked to me like it hit. Was it Nisbet? It looked like it hit Nisbet's hand, and then it kind of bobbled and went in. So you can always normally tell from the reaction. Just a quick hello as well to Sid from Toronto. See people watching Kenny and me talk in Toronto's amazing. Me and my dungeon, Kenny in his front room. It's yeah. So that's really good. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I think there's nearly 1,500 people watching this. So if you could like and subscribe while we're talking about it, that would be absolutely brilliant. It really helps us if you do that. That would be wonderful. It's free to do as well. So appreciate that. Yeah, so we survived that, Kenny. And then, do you know what? When it went 5 minutes, I was saying, go and put NCL up front, do something, because 2-1, 3-1 makes no difference to us in the slightest. Let's try and nick something. And it wasn't a case of trying to nick something because I think that, you know, I'm deluded enough to think that this title race is still on and that. It's not, you know, Celtic are going to rightfully win this league, unfortunately for us, and we need to deal with that, which is fine. But from our point of view, which is all we're caring about, is about our momentum and feeling good going into Thursday and things like that. That kind of feel-good factor. Try and nick something, that's what I thought, Kenny. And it turns out that it's Yanis Hagi in the middle who starts and ultimately finishes it. It's a bouncing ball. He lifts it over to Dessers. I thought Dessers was incredibly unlucky. As he's running through, I'm almost set myself for at least 7 step overs back in front before he finally does something. But he just leathers it first time. It's the inside of the post, smacks out the other side. So you're sitting thinking, Jeffy gets it, and Hagi, who starts it, has made that diagonal run, screaming for the ball. Love that. Absolutely screaming for the pass. And it's one of those ones, Kenny, and I think everybody, right, who watching this, and everybody who's been to football games will know this. See, as soon as he hit it, goal. As soon as he hit it, his body shape was tremendous. He's over the ball. He's whipping across it. Everything about it beautiful, and it goes straight in the net. And just a wonderful finish for Yanis Hagi. And we'll speak about him in a wee minute in terms of what he said afterwards and stuff like that. But an absolutely brilliant finish from Yanis Hagi.
Yeah, it's one of those, Stevie. Anybody that's played football will know how difficult that is to get your whole. You have to get your whole body over that ball, and you've got to shape your body and twist your body to get the bend on it, and then you've got to get the right weight on the right foot to get the power behind it to get past the keeper. So it's a wonderful, wonderful finish. But you would have got a cracking view of that, where because I know where the away end is up at Pittodrie, and you'd have got a good view of that, and you would have thought, as you say, as soon as he's hit that, that's got a big chance. But it was the same on the TV. As soon as he hit it, you thought that's just going right in the top corner. An absolutely brilliant goal. And for anybody in the comments that could maybe tell me, because I've watched the replay back of the Aberdeen goal, it was disallowed in this big goal, and I'm sure it hits his arm twice actually in the 2 different incidents. It actually hits his hand and then it's in his arm as well, but it shouldn't stand, and that's just the way that works. But what I really liked about that goal, the Hagi goal, is the instant he scores it, Steve, and I don't know if you've seen it back yet, but he's instantly shushing him. But he instant shush. And I don't know if you'll have had the chance to see the footage back, but Nico Raskin and young Finlay Curtis are winding them right up behind that dugout because they are seething. My son showed me a picture of a guy, he showed me the film of a guy just behind the goal and to the left, right at an exit, in a black hoodie, going apoplectic with rage. And that's what I enjoyed most about that, was their seethe. Because in the grand scheme of things, mate, you're absolutely right. Everything about today was all about Thursday for us. But to not lose the game when at halftime we're dead and buried, 2-0 down to 10 men, up at their place, and to steal that from them. And they, as you say, they were celebrating like they were winning a World Cup, and they just really do fixate themselves with us, and it's brilliant to see us steal a wee bit back off them. Even though, as I say, in the grand scheme of things for us, it's utterly irrelevant. It's more important to them that they won this game than it is for us, and they didn't. And fair play to Yanis Hagi. That is top drawer finishing.
Question from Paul. Stevie, what do you think the penalty shout is Dessers nearly the shirt pulled off his back? That'll be the one. I think it was Diamande, played it to the back post. Goalie missed it and he was getting yanked down. Right. Here's my issue, right? See if that was up the other end, then yeah, I think we're going to VAR and we're looking at stuff. See, because it's Dessers, and I think Dessers at times goes down a wee bit easy and over-eggs stuff, and I think that's... By the way, I thought Stephen McLean was awful today. There was one a throw out by Kelly, and Dessers was away. And, you know, that's probably when he would have done his 7 step overs. and we got it pulled back and things like that. So no, I thought McLean was poor today. Did I think it was a penalty? I think he definitely had a hold of him. That's for sure. But I think it was a penalty. Not. We'll end it on the kind of review of the game there. I will say that personally, I think Barry got the team spot on because none of us wanted anybody risked. And yes, Tav had to come on. Yes, Diamandi had to come on and things as a necessity at the time. Excuse me. Throat's a wee bit. Nothing to do with singing or shouting or anything, I promise. So I thought that Barry got it spot on substitution-wise. I think a few players let themselves down. Cortez, Danny, unfortunately, didn't get into the game as much as I want them to do. McCausland definitely. And but I think the subs made a big difference for us. The change of shape 4-4-1. Got to give the team credit, and I will. 10 men to come back and get something, as I said, is more important for us, I think, in terms of keeping the feel-good factor. And Alex, I think, put a point up, loads of questions before, saying about that's us went 2-0 down at Kilmarnock, Dundee, and here today, and still get 7 points out of 9, which is a very true point. Kenny, you're kind of summing up of today's performance as such. And then what to do, folks, is we'll spend a couple of minutes just taking any questions that people have got about Rangers in general or about today's game or whatever it is you want to ask about Rangers, and we will answer them before we finish.
The first half nowhere near good enough, mate. Far too many players off it. Too many of them not giving themselves or grasping the chance, that they've been given. Second half, just digging in deep, conceding a lot of ball and trying to create chances. And to be fair, for the last 20 minutes, I couldn't really see where the goal was coming from. So delighted to come out of there with a point, actually, in a game that doesn't really mean much. And as I say, if nothing else, it keeps it going for another week and spoils everybody's party a little bit. But yeah, it's all about today. Was, as I said, it's all about Thursday for me. It's all about making sure that you've got the strongest team available for Thursday night. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Happy to get the draw though.
Right, let's talk about this comment just for a second. I agree with you. I agree with this. But what I will say is that as much as that comment is true, and I believe it is, there's a lot to this. Because it's not like Kenny and I ever sit here, or any other guys, and say that Rangers are the best team in the world. We've got a tremendous squad. We are quite harsh on this group of players, as much as we are as honest as we can be about the club. So we're certainly not trying to paper over any inadequacies at all at Rangers in their team. Absolutely not. So yeah, I accept that.
Something on that, Stevie. Look, we have watched the Kilmarnock first half hour in absolute shambles. First half today a shambles. How many times do we've been saying this each and every game that we're just repeating ourselves. That the quality's not there. And he is right. Bluebell's a Blues, absolutely right. But it is papering over cracks, and of course it is. But if we're being absolutely blunt, genuinely truthful, genuinely honest about it, this squad is nowhere near the quality required to win this league. So, it's polishing turds to a certain degree, isn't it? But you've just got to try and be honest when you're trying to, appraise what's been going on in front of you. And yeah, but he's absolutely right. It's not good enough. But listen, they are showing a little bit of dig, if nothing else.
Here's former podder about to be sacked this evening, Derek Johnston. What shampoo do both you gents use? I use a shiner. Thanks, Derek. Right. I'm not even going to comment on your hair.
One for ginger hair.
Aye, considering we can all see your picture. Let's get to some of the points and questions today. Paul says, Stevie, women's team drew 1 each. I know. I saw Kirsty Howitt's goal. We had it on the chauffeur Drimmen limo by Rhino Express on the way back up the road. So, yes, we had it on. We watched. It is a big week for them. Important not to get carried away because they're in the split. Still to play everybody more or less twice. So, there's a lot more to go on that. I appreciate that, though, Paul. So there's going to be drop points. I think Hibs got beat today by Hearts as well. So that shows you a couple of questions for us that have came in. Has Barry asked the team to be overly aggressive? I think we needed more aggressive personally, but some of the tackles late are overly so. How many cards we had since Barry? There's difference, in my opinion, to aggression and stupidity, right? And sadly for me, Ross McCausland becomes stupidity. Robin Proper, I can kind of forgive because that is a moment in a game. But if you're being cautioned already and you make a tackle like that, for me, Kerry, I don't blame Barry Ferguson there at all. I blame the player for putting himself and his team in that position.
He was a bomb scare all day. Yeah, it's the second yellow. The first, as I said, the first one he's got to make the challenge because the ball's there to be won and he mistimes it. So that's fine. But the second one is ridiculous. You know, any player with any common sense in that moment will realise you can't make that challenge. And it was one of those that as you're watching it, you're sitting thinking, are you serious? Are you for real? What have you just done? Because you're up against it as it is. Because we're not particularly playing well here. You've got a basically a reserve side out, and the boys done himself no favours. And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, we do need a bit more aggression, but it's got to be controlled. And yeah, I know what the guy's saying, but I don't necessarily blame Barry Ferguson for that. I just think he's trying to get them up for a game. And as I say, I think a lot of it comes down to quality for me, if I'm being blunt.
Okay, question from Robert. Stevie, any word on the takeover and when it is sealed? Absolute gospel truth. I am not in the know regarding this takeover. And here's the absolute truth also. Nobody is. The deal is now with the lawyers. First draft, which means that an agreement's been struck between parties. And it's now basically like when you buy a house, paperwork goes to the lawyers and they do their thing. That's how far along it is. That's what the media have told us. That's where we believe it's at. How long will it take to be sealed? I would love to think there'll be news by the end of the month. That doesn't mean that it's done. Please don't take that as being me. I said I would love to think there would be news by the end of the month. But I'm certainly not in the know. I don't know. Nobody does because everyone involved in this will sign in non-disclosures and they will not get involved in it. So, Robert, I tried to answer that for you. I know people want to know, but the truth is, I'm not in the know for this one. So, a couple of questions as well, which I think are interesting ones. On Yanis Hagi, bring Jimbo's up here. Do you think Hagi's wage is a problem? He's already on a high wage. Do we have enough of a return to offer him a new deal? I'm not sure I like Hagi a lot. Here's the truth. Hagi's wages are a problem. And that's no issue and fault of Yanis Hagi. We already know that Philip Clement and people told us we cannot activate. We have a year clause on Yanis Hagi. We can't activate it because it's too much money. So, yeah, the straight answer is yes, his wages are a problem. I, however, think, and this is only my gut impression, Yanis Hagi really likes it here. Really likes it. I thought his comments today, last night, fake news, and then his comments today to say what he said, never ever wanted to leave the club. And I'm paraphrasing here, folks. I don't have it to hand, but never wanted to leave the football club. Has never said he wanted to leave the football club, and he loves this football club and will do anything for it, which is paraphrasing more or less what he said. I think Yanis Hagi would renegotiate. And I think if you offered Yanis Hagi and said to him, this is where we are in terms of finances and contracts, he might sit at the table. If he doesn't, honestly, he goes with my best wishes when you consider he's kind of been messed about. And yes, to Did he instruct his agents to go and find another club at Euros, all that kind of stuff? Well, maybe he did because he'd been told he wasn't going to be part of it. So, Yanis Hagi, for me, I think that his attitude is spot on. I am not going to be two-faced. I am not his biggest fan. I'm not his biggest fan because I think he lacks pace. I think he's capable of moments. He really is. But how many players do we have that are capable of moments? And that's a big issue for me as well. Yanis Hagi with better players around him. Could he give you something? Would I give Yanis Hagi a year or two? I think it's debatable. I like Hagi as a person, as a player. Only my opinion, and this doesn't make it right. I mean, you can stand next to 20 people at Rangers today and have different opinions all over the place, Kenny, but that's only my situation on Yanis Hagi.
Yeah, we have asked him about the club's, really been difficult with him, I think. And that is down to that contract situation, isn't it? But he's had a tough couple of years with us, I have to say. And, for a guy that does appreciate the club and appreciates being here, I feel for him. But I also happen to think that for the money that the clause would give him, you could get a lot better value than that. He's a good squad player, but I don't think he's much more than that. And I don't want to sit there and be down on him because you look at the quality of that goal today and what he is capable of. But, it's just one of those things that when you're at our football club, our football club needs to get value for money. We've been squandering so much money in our squads over the last few years that we really do have to sort that out. So, yeah, I can't see him really staying. I've got to be honest, but you just never know. But for me, I think you can get better value out there.
Interesting. It'll be one that debates because Yanis Hagi could have a storming last 4 or 5 games where he really influences Thursday night. He really does well in the remaining league games. Now, the league games are glorified friendlies. I'm not trying to say that. But all of a sudden, that can change your perspective. Football, you're only as good as your last kind of moment. So, Yanis Hagi is an interesting one. I think, John, if he took 15 grand a week, I think we're asking a lot when you start going on to asking people to half wages and all that kind of stuff. But if a deal's to be done there, then Yanis Hagi, potentially, when it starts, it would become, I think, more favourable. So I think that's just about us with the questions. I don't think anybody else has anything else really to say. One last one from Alex. Who's your pick for the Masters tonight? Golf doesn't overly bother me. Rory McIlroy, probably.
Want to see Rory win it, yeah.
Yeah, is where I would want to see him win it because I think this is the one that he hasn't won or something. And I'm not up to date. I'm not a huge I certainly don't play golf. Us chubby guys, we don't do golf very well. So, nah, I don't do. Plus, it's a waste of a good walk, isn't it, really? So, nope. Would probably like to see Rory win it. I'll probably have it on later as well. At some point as well. Yeah. That's basically where we are. Quick one. What went on at the end with Graham? I'm not sure that's how you spell Graham Shinnie's second name, but I'm happy to go with it. I think it's probably just that he's a twat and he's got a lot to say. And he was moaning about Diamande.
Didn't he?
He is. He's got one of those faces that he's always green.
Running about with Mr. Angry all the time. It's just so odd to watch.
I mean, he was having a go at Diamande at 2-1, and Diamande had kind of shuffled him off the ball at the corner, and I was watching it, and Diamande was having a go at him, saying to muscle up because he pushed him off the ball and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really know. As Kenny says, I wouldn't have been surprised if Barry
I don't know if you've seen that, Stevie, but John Suter had a proper word with him just before Barry got involved. But Suter was basically head to head with him and talking right down to him. So I don't know what the words were. I'd like to have been a fly in the wall, but you could tell Suter, there's no love lost there, put it that way.
That's interesting because John Suter's probably the most laid back guy in the whole world, because see, when you speak to him in pressers and all that, he's so he's so calm, he's so quiet, you know, and he doesn't get excited. So I'd lovely to think that he's just telling them where to go, because that's what we need. Right, let's end it there, folks. We've been on for 40 minutes. You asked us to go live. There's 2,000 people watching this moment in time, which was you know, it's brilliant for us. We really enjoy it. We don't mind going live. We'll try and do a bit more of live stuff for you if that's what you wanted to know. A few of the guys had asked for that. What's coming up today? I did a vlog today from the match. It's not normal. It's not like the normal ones, because I wasn't sitting filming the game, and it's really difficult to film games when you're making gestures at away fans and stuff as well. So no, I didn't do that today, but you can check it out anyway. It's 10 minutes long, and have a look at that. It's quite good fun. The thumbnail also managed in 10 minutes just to pick up the exact point where Sarah was rubbing my head just after we'd equalised at 2-2 as well. So I don't know why you.
Can I ask you a question? Right at the towards the end of about 30 seconds before the end of the vlog, is it you that's flicking the fingers at the Aberdeen support, or is it somebody next to you?
I absolutely do not behave like that, Kenneth. So I cannot confirm or deny that it was me. There's something about the fifth. I mean, can I claim the fifth or something? Plead the fifth on that, something like that. I'm a very well behaved young man at these things. So yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Thank you for everyone that's joined us. We really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be really, really great. We have a membership here on YouTube that people have really brilliantly got behind, which we love. It's as little as 99p a month. Allows us to do all these things, and you get to use all my little emojis, which you've been using throughout the whole thing. Somewhere, I think, there it is, up in the corner, right up there, somewhere over there. Yeah, great. So that's a favourite of everybody's, I think. I'm campaigning to get more of these on, but yeah, that was me at Parkhead. That was 132, and I've never lived it down. But anyway, listen, support you guys give us is unbelievable. Kenny, thanks for coming on, mate. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, mate. And we're cutting that fine. I've got my mate coming down in about 10 seconds. But brilliant. Really enjoyed that, mate. Thank you very much. And as I say, delighted, not happy with the result at all. Just delighted to spoil their party a little bit. And yeah, so into Thursday now, isn't it? That's what we're concerned about. And in truth, mate, I've got another night. I'm going to have another few drinks. I've got about 4 nights in the bounce. It's been my birthday weekend, and I am gubbed, mate, and I'm shattered with it. So enjoyed that, buddy.
Yeah, mate. We hope you had a really good birthday. Craig Gallagher says Kenny stickers too. There is some good stickers of Kenny and also of Cheryl and other members of the squad, Calvin included. So yeah, I'm campaigning to get these set up. Andrew's the one that does these things, so let's see if we can.
Yeah,
but anyway,
get them on.
Folks, we won't keep you any longer. Thanks for joining us. As I said, over 2,000 people watching this stream, which is really great. I've been up in Pittodrie today, and it's great to come back and have that level of support. Rangers didn't win today, which for me is always disappointing, because ultimately that's all that matters. But 2-0 down at half-time with 10 men, coming back 2-2 at least showed us something. I'll take that at this very moment in time, and hopefully there's more to come. Good luck to the team on Thursday night. We'll be back before that. Usual show tomorrow night, and then there will be a match day vlog live from Spain on Thursday night as well. So that should be a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a good couple of days.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.